Good evening. My name is Miller Freeman, and I'm a member of the senior class. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Joya for giving me the chance to speak to you tonight. Since the beginning of the semester, my class has had a calendar in our senior lounge counting down the days to graduation. I've seen it nearly every day since then, since coming back from Christmas break, and it really hasn't set in until recently what happens when it reaches zero. In just over 2 weeks, I will no longer be a student at MBA. On one hand, I'm excited for what will come next. I'm excited for my next 4 years at Georgetown, and I look forward to the freedom that will come with being a college student. On the other hand, I know I will miss my time on the Hill. I might not miss staying up till 1 a.m., writing themes, or reciting 18 lines of the Canterbury Tales that I honestly have no idea what it means. But I know that I will miss being in the student section at football games. And most importantly, I know I will miss the time spent with my friends and my classmates. When my parents asked me a few weeks ago at dinner whether I would do it again, I laughed before I reassured them that I would. Anyone at MBA will tell you that it is a constant challenge, so it seemed unthinkable to go through it again and do everything over again. But I knew what they were really asking. Was it worth it? I can assure you that it was. During my time on the Hill, I have been given opportunities that I know for a fact I would not find anywhere else. Opportunities that I never expected coming in as a 7th grader 6 years ago. For example, after my freshman year, I traveled to Johannesburg, South Africa to participate in an entrepreneurial leadership program with other students from around the world. The next summer, I found myself the beneficiary of the Wilson Language Grants that gave me the opportunity to study Spanish in a month-long immersion program. I think it goes without saying that this is not normal. It is not normal for a high schooler to know people on 6 of the 7 continents. And while these trips are perhaps the most memorable, they are by no means the extent of what MBA has offered me. It has also given me opportunities to get involved in the immigrant community in Nashville through tutoring projects, as well as giving me a home on the baseball team that I wouldn't trade for anything. I came here under the assumption that I would leave academically prepared for college, and I would say that I'm as prepared now as I ever will be. It is these other facets of my experience at MBA, however, that will make leaving more difficult than I expected. Thank you.
Thanks, Miller. Good evening. My name is Finner Pollock, and I'm an almost graduated senior. I'm honored to be speaking here tonight and excited to share with you my experience at MBA. I finished my last class today and played in my last high school sports game this past Saturday. 6 years of my life spent as a gentleman, scholar, and athlete wearing the cardinal and silver colors on my sleeve are coming to an end. I would not trade this journey for anything in the world and take pride on the young man I've become. I can still remember the first day of 7th grade walking through the quad in the front of ball building. I was in awe of the great magnolia trees that towered over me and of the colossal columns of the beautiful brick buildings that surrounded me. I questioned if I was in the right place, since this seemed more of a college campus than a high school, and the fact that the senior boys looked to be 7 feet tall and 25 years old. How am I ever going to be that big and tall, I thought, as I avoided being crushed by one of those giants. Well, here I am 6 years later, and I can humbly say that we seniors are not 7 feet tall nor 25 years old. I can say, however, that MBA has taught me more lessons and gave me more memories than I could have ever imagined as a small, naive 7th grader. The most important gift that MBA has given to me is a community of friends, teachers, and coaches that this place provides. The term brotherhood might be cliche, but this term accurately describes the bonds that we share. The camaraderie resonates throughout campus on a day-to-day scale. Just step foot into an English class and hear classmates giving a standing ovation to a student who has just recited 30 lines of Shakespeare, which I can say is not easy. Or head on down to Tommy Young Stadium on a Friday night in the fall and hear the student section chanting "Roll Red Roll" as they cheer for a touchdown or an interception. See the group of students at lunch with their arms around each other laughing and eating, and note the phrase, "Strive mightily, but eat and drink as friends," that is engraved above them. Everywhere you look, there are friends acting as brothers. MBA is truly a tightly knit community on the ideals of brotherhood that spans many generations. I know every single one of my classmates, and I've learned that a simple, "Hey, how are you?" can go a long way. My friends are not the only ones that I can greet with a smile and a laugh as I pass them in the hallways. Teachers and coaches have had a significant impact during my time on the Hill. I can still go back to my 7th grade English teacher or my 8th grade lacrosse coach and carry on a conversation like I never left the class or the team. I can go to my freshman year math teacher and ask for advice, or approach my junior year history teacher with a question about college. I've even built relationships with teachers and coaches that I've never had in class or on the field. My range of close bonds and greetings also expands to trainers, administrators, dining hall staff members, and even maintenance workers. In Mr. Joya's AP English class this year, we wrote a profile paper on an individual in our community that is of interest. I chose Cashew Darushu, a maintenance worker here at MBA, because of his unique journey to the United States from Ethiopia. Little did I know that Cashew experienced much adversity in a country of chaos and violence at the time, and escaped the perils of communism by hiding in the back of a van, which eventually led him to escape to Kenya as a refugee. This made me realize everyone has a story and a skill. At MBA, we are not only gentlemen, scholars, and athletes, but we are mathematicians, scientists, musicians, historians, debaters, thinkers, and doers. For example, we are presented with great opportunities that further our skills as human beings. For example, I received the Warner Exchange Grant and traveled to Winchester, England for a month this summer. I was able to fully experience a different culture that broadened my intellectual and social horizons, which resulted in becoming more empathetic to global affairs and communities. I also got to work with Best Buddies throughout high school, a service project that works with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and got to experience the joy that comes out of dance, laughter, art, and sports in a community filled with love. MBA has taught me how to handle the demands and tasks of everything presented in front of me. My most precious skill was balancing sports and school. Just as I used the sports field as a place of refuge from the daily grind of school, I used the classroom as a place to free my mind from the grueling demands of football and lacrosse. School and sports formed a symbiotic relationship. An art history test would relieve my mind of what I'm supposed to do when there are 3 receivers on my side and I'm in cover 2 press. Or running a 3-on-3 drill with 2 minis and attackmen dodging from X would trivialize the English paper that I have due the next day. Some of my favorite days occurred after a hard test and going out with my best friends and teammates and getting to sweat and to have fun with each other in practice. While switching between my intellectual mind and my athletic body, I learned to listen to what my teachers and coaches harped on every day. I have taken those lessons and applied them to not only school and sports, but also to my life as a whole. MBA has taught me how to use my strengths to improve my weaknesses while becoming a stronger individual during my process of becoming an adult. Strength through knowledge, as we say here. The beautiful thing about MBA is that I can confidently know that I'll be able to call up a buddy 5, 10, or 30 plus years from now and retell an old high school memory or story like it happened yesterday. The bonds that we form here and the roots that we as students, alumni, parents, teachers, coaches, donors, and all individuals in between have planted here at Montgomery Bell Academy will live forever. Roll Red. Thank you.
Rewind the clock to hearing Miller and Fenner. As I said earlier, they are both really humble, sweet, thoughtful young men. Fenner plays football and lacrosse, and Miller plays baseball, and they're both superb students. Yesterday in class, Fenner analyzed a poem in the New Yorker, and it was really fun just to think about his experience and how he analyzed that poem and how he is not, any stereotype as he suggested, I think, in his talk. He loves the balance of the school. He quoted the Shakespeare quotation above me. You know, he buys into all of that, and that's a theme I want to talk about in these closing comments. Since tonight is about fundraising, I guess, and leadership gifts, I wanted to start by mentioning the extraordinary gift the school got this year from Frank Burkholder. As you all know, I think, it was an amazing event for any school. Frank was a very understated guy. Graduated in 1956, lived a very modest life, never wanted to have any fanfare made about him. In fact, made it clear that people like me should be friendly with him, but never talk to him about money, which I never did. Saw him all the time here. He loved the school. He loved the football program in particular. He was captain of the football team in '56, and I think he enjoyed, I know he did, enjoyed reliving that experience for a lot of his life. He was 81 when he died. We were shocked about the size of the gift. We knew, or thought we knew, we'd get a very nice gift from Frank, but we thought we'd be one of 3 entities that got that gift. And we knew that he inherited a lot of money, and we thought it'd be a gift, probably 10 to 25 million, but never thought it'd be 100+ million. And the gift in no way has changed who we are. I rarely think about the gift in the sense, except that I'm asked about it all the time. But I honestly don't think about it on a daily basis because, I think more about the culture of the school. I think about the mission of the school. I think that, I think it's just been a great story because it has provided a way for MBA to be debt-free, something we've not been in 25 years, as David well knows. That was one of the things he pushed hard for immediately when we got the gift. So we were able to pay down about $20 million of debt because we built buildings at a time and bought property when interest rates were very low and the construction costs were less competitive and costly. And so we built up some debt, but now we're completely debt-free, and that changes a lot in your life and in the school's life. And then we had planned to build this athletic facility, and we knew that was ambitious, but with Frank's gift, it creates a wonderful challenge and opportunity for us to figure out a way to make this happen. And so we're really excited about that. And then it gives us the ability to put a significant amount of money in the endowment, and we've said to ourselves, let's give ourselves some time and think about how to use that. There's no rush. We're not going to go out and buy any gold chains or fancy cars tomorrow. We're just going to be pleased that we have a discipline about the school, and we don't want to change that. So it's been a remarkable year for the school, without question. There are only about 5 to 6 schools I could tell you about who have received gifts like that. But I should add that all of those schools have told me that it's actually been an opportunity to have greater aspirations, and they've seen greater gifts come because they know that people care about investing in a place that has a clear mission. MBA has an incredible culture. You got a glimpse of that by hearing from those 2 students. They buy into it. I mean, I don't have to tell them anymore. They say it now. They enjoy the variety. They, as Fenner said in his talk, the classroom is a great way to think about intellectual issues, and he loves his athletics, but it's all important to him. He loves art. He writes about that a lot. And, I think that balance is really critical because it'll make better men. They'll have empathy for lots of different subjects, and they'll be better people. I like the sense of achievement at MBA. These boys want to work hard. They want to be aspirational. They're very humble at the same time. If I think about the school relative to a place like New York, where I know the schools well, in some ways, I wanted to see our boys be a little bit more pushy and aggressive, but on the other hand, they're very civilized, and they're very gentle, and that's a wonderful quality. I speak a fair amount, but maybe not enough about this issue, and that is that I'll say to the students, it shouldn't be your last name, it shouldn't be your zip code, it should be how hard you work that defines you. And I think that is a really important part about MBA. And I think you and I ought to say that more and more, because that will make them better people, better men, better individuals. The last thing I want to say, and I got this email about a week or so ago, I can't remember who wrote it to me, but it was someone who was obviously patriotic about the school, and he said that Lou Holtz, the football coach for Notre Dame, once said that there were two organizations he knew that had such a clear and palpable culture and mission that it made those experiences so immeasurable for him. And they were Notre Dame, where he coached, and Notre Dame is amazingly on mission. If you spend any time there, it is phenomenal how they know exactly what they're about. And the other place is Augusta National. And so Holtz said, you know, those two places know exactly what they are all about. And this person then wrote me and said, you know, MBA has a strong flavor of that. I said in a meeting today with a couple of you in the room that that what I like about the school is that it has a strong brand. There's no doubt. You know, there are a few places where everybody could say they understand the mission. You know, gentleman, scholar, athlete is pretty obvious about the school. The parents, the students could quote it for me. Obviously, it's simple, concise, clear, prioritized. And yet, the brand is not just a stereotype. When you get on the inside of MBA, it is authentic. You have a sense that they appreciate it, they understand it. It is tangible in a way that not many things are tangible in life. And for me, you know, the culture, the sense of achievement, that sense of brand that has an authenticity is really about as good as it gets. And so I wanted to leave you with those thoughts tonight, and I wanted to say thank you. And I've met my time, which I'm always interested in. So I appreciate what you've done for the school, and I appreciate your being here this evening. I hope you'll come again and again and again. Thank you, and good night.